Will you please state your name for the record?
Whitney Enriquez.
And where do you live?
In Glendale, California.
And you're Amber's sister?
I am.
How old are you?
34.
So you're her younger sister?
Yes.
Okay. Are you married and do you have any children?
I am. I'm married with 2 small children.
Okay. How old are your children?
A 3-year-old and a newborn who's just over 2 months old.
What is your profession?
Before the pandemic, I worked in hotels doing various food and beverage management jobs, primarily events as well.
Now I'm going to take you to Mr. Depp and Amber, the early stages. When did you first meet Mr. Depp?
I met him sometime in 2011 for the Rum Diary press tour, but I did not meet him until 2012 as Amber's boyfriend.
And were you living with Amber at the time?
Yes, we had an apartment together on Orange Avenue. I split my time between there as well as an apartment I shared with my boyfriend at the time.
Now, describe your relationship with Mr. Depp in the early stages.
We got along really well at first. He was sober at the time, and Johnny, when he's sober, is very bright and beautiful and lovely and kind and generous, and he was very easy to get to know, and frankly, we all fell in love with him at first.
Now, describe your observations of Amber and Mr. Depp's relationship in the early stages.
Again, at first, that was wonderful. They were incredibly in love. I actually, to this day, have never seen my sister fall so madly for somebody. And things were wonderful. They seemed to really understand each other and get along well. But very quickly, this pattern emerged as their relationship went on, that if Johnny was using, there almost always was a fight. There was always a
Objection, Your Honor. Cause for speculation, lack of foundation.
It's a foundation, if you want to
Okay. What, if any, changes in their relationship did you observe?
That when Johnny was using, there would be a fight. I saw it firsthand.
Objection, Your Honor. Same objection.
overruled.
Thank you. Please continue.
At first, Amber was Amber. She was loud, fun, funny. She laughed a lot. She was just this happy, bright, fun-loving thing, always surrounded by friends. And then it was a progression that took over such a long period of time, and it was so slow. In hindsight, it was like watching a slow-motion gunshot. She suddenly stopped sleeping as much. She wasn't as funny. She wasn't as loud. She wasn't as gregarious as she used to be. Cut to the end of their relationship, she was so physically unwell. She maybe weighed 100 pounds soaking wet. She was emaciated. She wasn't sleeping. She had developed a heart condition, and her eyes were sunken in. She just looked like she was different.
Mr. Depp exhibiting controlling behavior over the course of their relationship relating to Amber's clothing.
Objection, Your Honor. Meeting.
Mr. Depp's treatment of Amber relating to clothing.
At first, it would be like light jokes, or, she left the house wearing something like, oh, you're gonna wear that, or just some joke. It was very subtle, And then over time, again, just like the progression of their relationship, it just intensified. Then suddenly suddenly they had the same stylist, and he had been essentially controlling what she wore to events and things like that. So she went from being able to wear whatever the hell she wanted, and then suddenly she's wearing anything that his stylist wanted her to wear, or wanted him to wear. And her style over time just got more and more conservative.
With respect to Amber's work.
That too was one thing. At first, he was saying he was protective over the kinds of jobs she was taking. Oh, that's not going to be good for her career, that's not going to be good for this, not going to be good for that. And then suddenly he has a problem with her taking any sort of job or any sort of audition. And then it became every time that she even thought about taking a meeting, it was another fight. He would often say, too many times for me to quantify.
How many times did you observe Mr. Depp high on drugs?
Again, it would be really hard to put a number to that. It was a lot.
And what types of drugs did Mr. Depp use to your knowledge and your observation?
Well, personally, I've done cocaine and drank with him on a number of occasions, so that, he almost always had weed of some sort, marijuana, like, joints or whatever. I have seen him take MDMA on an occasion, shrooms as well. I once saw him consume a Ziploc bag that had a bunch of just unknown pills, some prescription, some not. He just took them all at once to see what would happen, and he laughed about it. Those are what I can recall.
Now, you said that you also did cocaine with Mr. Depp, is that correct?
Yes.
What, if any, observations did you make as to what Mr. Depp carried in his pockets?
Well, we always had cigarettes or rolling papers. When I say cigarettes, I mean the tobacco and rolling papers. He always had a joint on him. If he was in a phase of using coke, he would carry around a little pill box that had his cocaine in it. But he always had a pocket knife, a lighter, and a version, he was almost unrecognizable when he was drinking and using to an excess. If it was alcohol and coke, he would slur, he'd go on these paranoid, delusional rants about things that didn't make any sense. His speech would be slurred. I almost never knew him to use cocaine without drinking. Those were generally combined. When he would smoke weed, he was